images that, as a sports fan, were very difficult to look at.
It's over. That's what I was thinking. Because, listen, not only is he one of the most durable athletes we've ever seen to play in that sport with his size, and I think Zach said it earlier that he averages, 75 games a season. So the durability has always been there, but he's tough as hell too, Will. And when he went down, I don't think I've seen Nikola Jokic act like that. And in the postgame, it was almost like in memoriam almost, right? Like, oh, it was gut-wrenching. David Adelman said it was gut-wrenching to watch it, almost like he was prefacing, get ready for the worst. And to hear the news this morning, for me, that glass, is it half full? Because that's the way I'm going to look at it. Yeah, it's horrible that you're going to miss the best player in the world for 4 to 6 weeks. And something tells me with his toughness that he'll be back sooner than the 6-week mark, but I also want him to be back as close to 100% as possible when they do come back. So I'm looking at it like, well, it's not over now, because no matter what, and they preface it on the drive as well, now it's like the 1-2, the Oklahoma City Thunder thing, you're not catching them. It's not going to happen. It's not in the cards this year. You've lost 2 of your best defensive players for a majority of a month. We're waiting to get those guys back, and now you're going to miss not only your best player, but the best player in the world. So if the Nuggets can weather the storm, I'm going to look at it and be like, thank God it wasn't worse, because the way that the injury, when you see it, I thought of Patrick Mahomes, the way his knee buckled. And when that happened, I thought, oh, it's an LCL. He had, obviously, ACL with it. So for him to get out of it with no significant ligament damage, dude, that's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Relief was the overwhelming emotion, and I'm with you. I'm sitting there last night going, it is over, and not just over for this season, but maybe their entire window shut. And that's what scared me the most is he's in his 30s now. He's a big man. If he had the rehab torn ligaments, yeah, he'd work his butt off. We know that, but it doesn't necessarily mean he'd be the same player. He'd still have his mind, which is one of his biggest valuable assets, but it could be the beginning and the end of his body starting to break down. And I am just so relieved that we don't have to sit here tonight and have those conversations, because that would just scare me. It would honestly would rip my heart out as a Nuggets fan if I had to sit here tonight and talk to you about Jokic with a torn ACL or LCL or whatever, because that would mean that they were only going to get one title in the Nikola Jokic window and era. And now I think, is it a guarantee they get a second? Of course it's no guarantee. But they're still very firmly in the conversation for a second ring with Nikola Jokic, which, if worst-case scenario had happened, I think we pretty much could have shut the book on that. So I'm with you. It's just an overwhelming, when I saw the tweet today that there was no ligament damage, just an overwhelming sense of joy, really, which is so weird. You don't experience joy when your guy's out a month, but it was the best news possible that he was out a month.
Exactly. And like when you go back and you look at the injury, and we do this all the time, whether you injure yourself or you see it, like knowing where they were at in the game, 3 seconds left at the end of a quarter, friendly fire is basically what did it. Mm-hmm. Spencer Jones steps on his foot, which caused him to buckle the knee. That reminded me of when Matt Lepsis kicked Terrell Davis in the knee, and that's not a literal comment. I mean, we kind of phrase it that way, but we knew at that point, like, oh, man, he'd still be fine. But we didn't know it was coming. Like when something like this happens, and that's why I'm saying, thank God it was just, the sprain and the bone bruise. And the bone bruise is going to be painful for quite some time for him. My son just did it like a month and a half ago, and that was the hardest part. Like he sprained the MCL, and the doctor said he basically was trying to tear his ACL, but he didn't. But the bone bruise was the thing that was so much more painful for him. So
interesting. If
he can kind of weather, and he's going to get the best treatment available. So like
your son or Nikola?
No, my son didn't get that. He's not getting the round-the-clock treatment that Nikola will get.
Yes, he will.
There's not an NBA or world championship on the line.
Yeah.
But so it's like that's all encouraging to me. And I also heard you guys in the drive talking about how can they weather the storm if it is only, these 18 games. What did George Karl always used to say? In a month, he wanted to win how many games? 10, right? Like at least 10 to 15 games if you could, depending on the month and how long it was. I know the number was always like right around, get to that 10 mark, and then anything above that is going to be gravy for you.
That's basically a 50-win season if you win 10 every month. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's tough to do when you have all your weapons available to you. So the Nuggets do have their handfuls, but the encouraging thing to me is they have aspirations of doing something special this year. Now, has everything gone their way? No, of course not. AG going down when he did. Christian Brown missing a ton of time. Cam Johnson's missed time. Now Nikola Jokic will. I like their mentality of it. And now we'll see, to you and James's point, we'll see how good of a coach David Adelman is. It's pretty easy to coach a team when you have that player.
Why is that to my point? I've always been a fan of David Adelman's. I told you I was thrilled with the hire.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Everyone said it was yay. And James, especially James, shout out James. He's like, now look at how good they are when they have a good coach.
So you're saying the pressure comes on the head coach to deliver at least a handful of wins over the next 18 games now that he doesn't have Nikola Jokic out there.
I'm shooting for 500.
9-9 would be good for you.
I think they can do it too, just because the NBA is kind of fickle like that. We've seen some games here in Denver this year that they should not have lost. To Dallas, to Chicago, those type of games.
Sacramento got one.
And if you get AG back and you get CB back, I think everyone's going to be focused. I know they don't know how to play without Nikola yet, but we don't know what that looks like. So now it goes back to David Adelman and that coaching staff and be like, what are you going to focus on to try and get better at? Obviously, the defense has been a problem. We've said it 100 times. They give up 30, 40-point quarters like they're Skittles. They got to stop doing that. And where are you going to go offensively? AG coming back will be a huge help, I think.
Sure, those will be big boosts. I mean, the Nuggets now without 4 of 5 starters. I mean, the injury report has dropped for tomorrow night's game, and it's right there. You know, Aaron Gordon out, Christian Brown out, Cam Johnson out, Nikola Jokic out. I mean, it's kind of jarring when you see an injury report that looks like that, 80% of the guys. And I'm glad you're spinning it forward. I'm spinning it forward as well as, what's it going to look like without Jokic? And that's our job, right? The sports world never sleeps. We have to spin it forward. But also, I just want to reiterate the sense of gratitude that we're only spinning it forward for a month, right?
Yes.
Because we're professionals and we would do this job either way. We'd be here either way. But I'm not going to lie. I would have dreaded doing an hour tonight if we had to talk about worst case scenario. And I'm sure the morning show would have dreaded 4 hours, midday 4 hours, the drive 4. Like, it's not fun to do this job in dread. And so, yes, we have to look forward to the next month, and I'll dive into those conversations with you gladly. But it feels like when you get the best Christmas present of all time, you have to say thank you like 37 times about it. I feel like we just need to say over and over and over again how thankful we are, the Mile High City is, the Rocky Mountain region, NBA fans, Serbian fans, that he didn't do anything worse than a hyperextend. I don't want to live in that alternate universe, and I'm so glad we don't.
Did you see it live or did you see it on social media?
No, I saw it live. I had flipped over. You know, the football game was kind of a dud. The Avs hadn't started yet, and I flipped over about 5 minutes to go and watched the end of that second quarter and saw it happen. And my mind just went to he tore his ACL and everything's over. That's where it went.
I'm with
right
you
away.
100%.
How about you? Where were you at?
I was getting alerts on the phone. I was watching the football game, and those started to kind of flood in. And they were like kind of the covered in veil almost, like, oh, did the Nuggets season just end? That type of stuff where you're like, what is going on?
Right.
And when you saw it and the amount of pain that he was in initially, I was like, I thought it was done, man.
And it wasn't. It was the pain for sure. But what really got me was the extended clips. Because, I know on social media people were only sharing like 15 seconds. I watched the whole thing live, and then people started sharing the whole thing live. It was the walk to the locker room that was the most concerning part. I mean, he was hobbled. And every, big spender in Miami, cool South Beach guy, had their cell phone out, filming him going to the locker room because quickly that arena realized what they were witnessing.
Yeah.
But that's when it was funny. The Nuggets listed him as questionable, and I'm like, he ain't questionable. He's out. They downgraded him out within, 45 minutes to an hour. But that's what scared me the most, Chell. The fall was bad. The pain was bad. The struggle to get from the court to the locker room sent the alarm bells off for me to about a 10.
Yeah, and it's because of the toughness that we've seen through the tenure of him being a Denver Nugget. We've seen him deal with, dude, he gets beat up night in and night out.
And he's a tank.
And he never really shows anything. I mean, he'll show emotion, but as far as like pain, you've never really seen him act like he did when he went down. And to your point, when he got up, it wasn't even like that slow limp, like just cautious. You could tell he wanted nothing to do with it. So for it to be the result that it ended up with, dude, be thankful for it, because now you still have an opportunity for Denver to be Titletown 2026, and that's probably one of the ones that you would put above. Maybe the Avalanche are at the height of it, but the Nuggets were certainly like a close second. The Broncos just broke into that conversation.
Yeah, no, if it had been the worst, the whole 3 parades thing would obviously be off. We'd be trying to get 2 parades, and that would be the Broncos and the Avalanche. But I think the 3 parade things can still be on, and let's dive into that, because the biggest thing for me now is they have to avoid the play-in. So if you take a look at the NBA standings, they're currently the 3 seed at 22-10, and the play-in is the Suns at 19-13. After that, there's a big drop-off to the 8 seed, the Golden State Warriors at 17-16. And I always look at the loss column, because you can't make up losses, you can make up wins. They are 6 ahead of the Warriors in the loss column for that 8 seed, but only 3 ahead of the Suns for the 7 seed. That said, I think Phoenix has overachieved this year, and it's probably going to be like a 500 team when it's all said and done. This could be a year where 44, 45 wins does avoid you the play-in. And oh, by the way, a quick reminder, the NBA playoffs are bracketed. The NFL will reseed. The NBA will not. So you don't want to be the 4, you don't want to be the 5, and you don't want to be the 8. But if you are the 7 or the 6, you can still avoid OKC until the Western Conference Finals. And frankly, I think the Nuggets as a 6 seed can go to the NBA Finals. But that's where my mind now goes, now that we've had some time to digest and take a deep breath, of how does this impact the standings? And in my eyes, if you could say today, hey, Denver's going to be the 6 seed, barely going to avoid the play-in, but be on the other side of the bracket at OKC, I would take it in a heartbeat.
I just counted up the 18 games that would be that month. So it would take you all the way through, starting tomorrow, which is New Year's Eve, against Toronto on the road. There's a lot of East Coast opponents. There's not. What is your goal out of the 18 games? Because if you
7 and 11. 7 and 11.
If you got to the 18th game, that would be against the Clippers, home Friday, January 30th. But then you have, look at the next 3. So maybe he misses extra time just till you get past this, depending on how they're playing. But you have your first tilt against OKC on February 1st. Follow that with a trip to Detroit and New York and Chicago before you come back home to see Cleveland. So by the time you look at those 18 games, I don't see anything really daunting. You play Detroit one of those times there, but it's like
every game is daunting without Nikola Jokic. That's where I got to stop you. Cello, this is a 25-30 win team without the Joker. They just are. They're we'd be talking about ping pong balls if Nikola Jokic didn't play on this team. I'm talking about the draft lottery. Nothing.
I'm not gonna go. They're not a playoff team in the NBA without Nikola Jokic.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
They're one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Are you kidding me?
Being dead serious. And you know what? I don't want to be I told you so guy, but if they go 4-14 over the next 18 games, maybe you'll see my side of things.
If that happens, then maybe you're dead on right. I think if you're going to be a championship organization. And I'm not trying to downgrade Nikola Jokic by any means.
No, I know.
I mean, he's the best player in the world. This is a huge blow to the team. But 7 and 11 versus, and I think you could get to 9, maybe 10 wins. I think you should be shooting for that. We don't know what it's going to look like. That's the problem. We have no idea.
We saw them get their tails kicked in last night in Miami without him.
Well, they're in a little bit of shock as well.
I know. But I'm just saying, I think that's a sample of what's to come. I mean, what did Jamal Murray say postgame? He's everything we do.
Yeah.
He's everything
That's
we
true.
do. I mean, the next month of Nuggets basketball, not going to be fun to watch. It really isn't. You know, the old saying, you don't know what you have till it's gone.
Oh,
Nuggets fans are going to learn very quickly what it's like when it's gone for the next month. They're going to be very difficult to watch. They're going to give up 140 points a game, and they're going to squeak out some wins. And honestly, it's just going to make his MVP case even stronger, because that word valuable, he's going to show those idiot voters out there that think he's the 4th most valuable player, that he actually is the most valuable player, because this team is going to really, really struggle in his absence.
I think initially you're probably right. I don't know. This is like one of those things. You remember like when Brett Favre, after his father passed, and you thought, why is this dude playing on Monday Night Football?
Yep.
Just out of sheer emotion that first game, maybe the first couple games the Nuggets play really well because they have to have a renewed focus, right? Every single one of them that is going to be playing, that's going to get any playing time at all, that if you're David Adelman, that has to be the focus. Is like, you have to change everything. We need every ounce of effort that you have when you're out on the floor to be competitive. But the NBA for me is there's games that the Nuggets have lost with Nikola Jokic against very bad basketball teams. Those type of games will be thrown in there too over the 18. So if you get a couple of those, 3, 4 of those, and then you're able to just win 4 or 5 of them, just tread water. Get to that 9 games. That would be like, and I know it's bad to say just that would be the only goal, and that won't be their focus, but it's in reality, if they go 4-14, dude, then you're in trouble, and you're talking about the scenarios that you said you wanted to avoid.
Yeah, no, 4-14 would put a dent in your hopes of avoiding the play-in for sure. Now, the good news is the bottom of the play-in is trash, so you would at least make the play-in. I mean, the Blazers are a play-in team at 14-19 right now, so even if it was doomsday, you could make it. The problem is if you make it, you might be the 8th seed, and you might have to play OKC round 1. No one wants that. Even if we think they can beat the Thunder, you don't want to play Oklahoma City in a first-round series. So
after the good news today, I'd take them there. You're going to have to play them at some point.
Yeah, but I'd rather just...
If we could map it out,
give me the Rockets,
but how many
give me the Bulls. I don't know.
Those other 3 teams, I don't think you want any of them. But if you were able to weather the storm, just after what you saw last night, thinking it was over, to now having just an opportunity in the postseason, whether it's against them or the Spurs or the Rockets or whoever it may be.
So it sounds like you're not as concerned
I'm just thankful
with
that it's not over.
I am too, but now that it's not over, are you not as concerned as I am about the play-in? I mean, I heard Mike and Stoke this morning say they're absolutely unequivocally are a play-in team. I think they can still maybe barely avoid it, but first of all, in the play-in, you have a bad night or 2 bad nights, you could just be done. You know, it's no guarantee that they're through. But then second of all, you're on the wrong side of the bracket in my eyes. But it sounds like if someone offered you the 8 seed tomorrow, you'd say, okay, sure, bring it on.
After what I was thinking last night and early this morning, yes.
Okay. I love it. You're right, because if he had been out for the year, they wouldn't have been, even if they had been the 8 seed, it wouldn't have been a competitive series without Nikola Jokic. The other question that arises from all this is, that obviously you're missing 4 of 5 starters, and that sucks. And it's for legitimate injuries, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's no funny business going on here, or load management or anything like that. But is it just one of those years where maybe it's not meant to be? Are you just kind of feeling punked as a Nuggets fan right now? Or are you choosing that glass half full you mentioned of like, none of these guys are done for the year, and it sucks right now, but all I care about is the health in April?
I think if this were to have happened in February or something, I'd probably be more along those lines.
Yeah.
But given that it happened so early, and I think they're taking ultimate precautions especially with a guy like AG, CB's young enough. Obviously, his was a serious injury. We saw the crutches he was on after it happened. Those aren't like just the run-of-the-mill, the ones you get at Walgreens, Will. Like you got the full-on support under the armpits and the forearms. So it's legitimate, but when you get them back, that roster, without Nikola Jokic for 4 weeks, if they don't rush either of them back and they come back to close to 100%, I have a belief in them. And I think I have a belief in them because when they made those moves in the offseason, we thought championship, right? And now I know it's not ideal to miss the best player in the world for a month, at the very least. But can you weather the storm and just tread water so that when he does come back, you're going to be the team putting fear into the other teams that are still vying for position.
Oh yeah, no. If you're the 6 and like a young upstart Spurs team gets the 3, they're going to go, ugh. We drew the Nuggets in the first round. How did that happen? You're definitely right. And I looked at the odds makers today, and this is post the news coming out that he's going to miss a month. They still have the Nuggets as the 2nd highest odds to win the NBA title. So the odds makers would agree with you. Obviously, the Thunder are an overwhelming favorite.
And have been.
But there's no Spurs. There's no Rockets. There's no Pistons. There's no Knicks. There's no Celtics. The Denver Nuggets still have the 2nd best odds to win the entire thing.
That was after the news broke that it's 4 to 6 weeks?
Correct. Obviously, if he had been out for the year, I shudder to where they'd be. They would have the 15th, the 20th best odds to win the title. They wouldn't even be in the conversation. So, listen, I know gambling has become a massive thing, and it's controversial and all this and that, but the odds makers set things to make money, and they set lines that are realistic to them so that they can make their profits. they're not making the Nuggets the second biggest favorite because they're just doing them a favor. They're making the Nuggets the second biggest favorite because their research and analytics thinks they have the second best odds of winning the title this year. And that to me is still encouraging because they don't build billion-dollar casinos by not knowing what they're doing.
No, not at all. The concerning thing for me is the wear and tear that you're going to put on the guys that are left available to play. And Jamal Murray's had a phenomenal start to his year and looking like an all-star. But when AG comes back, are you going to be able to limit his minutes when he needs the rest so that you don't – because let's be honest, those injuries are starting to creep up more and more often with an aging Aaron Gordon. Christian Brown, is he going to be able to withstand it when he comes back? Is he going to be in shape enough to withstand the amount of minutes you're going to ask these guys to play? Because you're going to put more of an emphasis on those guys. I know you're going to get more out of your bench and you're going to get deeper runs out of some of the guys we haven't seen a ton this year, but you're going to be relying heavily on Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon when he gets back, Christian Brown when he gets back, Payton Watson, Cam Johnson when he gets back. It's just going to be, can they withstand that, or are they going to be pressed too much during this next 30 to 35 days to where, like, when he does come back, they're spent.
Right.
And then other injuries start to creep up.
That's fair. And then I look at the depth on this team. You know, Zeke Naji is not a guy I have any faith in. And I think he got one of the worst contracts that's ever been given out by Calvin Booth. But bypassing Zeke Naji, I look at Deron Holmes, right? This guy was a first-round pick for you about 18 months ago. And he had a terrible injury in Summer League. His very first game, he pops his Achilles. But it's been 18 months. And he's gotten a lot of run in the G League, and he's played well. That's the kind of guy. Julian Strother, that's the kind of guy that I'm looking at over this next month. I'm not expecting them to come in and be Jokic, but I am expecting them to come in and prove that they can be rotation players in the NBA. And as Gary Kubiak would say, we're fixing to find out. But you got to kind of, at this point, if you're David Adelman, you just got to throw different combinations out there and see what sticks, because you're so thin, missing 4 or 5 starters, that if a guy's good enough to get a jersey on your bench, he's probably good enough to go in the basketball game and see what he has.
Yeah, I'm trying to compare it to any other team this year, and the only one I can really think of would be Milwaukee. How much time did Giannis miss? He just got back, right? I know.
And there's swirling trade rumors around him as well. But yeah, about a month.
But there was one point during his time that he missed where they lost 7 straight. The Nuggets have to avoid a scenario like that. If you lose 2 and then win 1 and then you just keep kind of treading water, I think you'll be fine. If you can avoid one of those long losing streaks, which the Bucks, you see in their schedule, they had one of them as well. When you miss one of the best players in the world, obviously that's going to happen. Just avoid anything over 4 or 5 games in a row.
Yeah. All right. Well, there is good news with Nikola Jokic, so we are glad to pass that along. And good news for you, because if you call in right now, you've got a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Sportsman Expo. It's going on January 8th through the 11th at the Colorado Convention Center. Let's do caller number 4, 303-713-1043. Call in, chance to win a pair of tickets to the Sportsman's Expo going on January 8th through the 11th at the Colorado Convention Center. Caller number 4, we'll talk to Dante Gomez. All right, so that's the big update with the Nuggets. There's plenty of Broncos news to share as well as they pursue the number 1 seed in the AFC, and we will hit that next.
Follow us on X at DEN Sports 1043 for up-to-the-minute information and opinions on all things Denver sports. Also, we can still call it Twitter, right? Denver Sports 1043 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app.
Join Denver Sports 1043 The Fan and Modelo at Mile High Station on Saturday, January 4th from noon to 2:25 p.m. for the Fan Football Pregame Show. Get your head in the game with orange and blue face painting and ice-cold Modelo. Modelo, brewed for full-time fans.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements. More energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or visit RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Weekend escape to bucket list adventure. Plan your trip at the Sportsman's Expo. This is the region's greatest selection of outdoor travel. Colorado, the West, Alaska to Mexico, Canada to South Africa, outfitters, guides, lodges, and destinations. Your chance to meet the experts who'll make your trip unforgettable. Colorado's largest Sportsman's Expo is back January 8th through 11th at the Colorado Convention Center in Denver. More info at sportsexpos.com.
Babe, your arms look amazing. Working out is paying off.
Thanks. I just wish my chest matched. No matter what I do, I'm frustrated with my man boobs.
Hey, don't beat yourself up. More than half of men have gynecomastia. It's gland tissue, not laziness. Same thing is happening to my friend Trisha's husband. He went to Dr. Cameron Dastry at Modern Surgical Arts of Denver.
For real? He get good results?
He got great results. Call him, honey.
Call today. They're offering complimentary consultations for the fan listeners. 303-470-3400 or at modernsurgicalarts.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Zach here. The holidays will be here before you know it, and for many families, that means excitement, but also stress. Between gifts, travel, and higher prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're already relying on credit cards to cover the basics. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to my friends at American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. That's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out if you qualify. Call American Financing at 303-695-7000 or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Dan Jacobs for 303 Law 4040, and I'm here with that beautiful voice you hear on the other end of the phone oftentimes when you call 303 Law 4040. It's my lovely wife, Kimberly. Kim, I know you and I had so much fun the other day. We actually met with a couple that had been in an accident up north in their house the other day, and Randy was so excited. He's like, I can't believe it. It's the lovely wife. She's right here in my kitchen.
He's too kind. It was really great to meet him and his wife and his pets and just be able to help them.
I think it helps that when you answer the phone, when people call 303 Law 4040, it makes things, I know calling a lawyer can be scary, but I don't know, your soothing voice just makes it a little bit easier.
Well, I just want to help. That's all. And I know how to do that.
I love the holidays. I always like to wish our listeners happy holidays. Would you like to do so as well?
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful new year.
And I hope you never need us, but just in case, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040. That's 303 Law 4040.
Hey, Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. You know, in the game of life, our most valuable asset is our health.
At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
HelloFresh helps you cook fresh, delicious, wholesome meals every weeknight for a healthier you in each bite. This is more than just dinner. It's feel-good made from scratch. HelloFresh, nothing hits like home cooking. Try now at HelloFresh.com.
Catch Telestrator Tuesday weekly on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, where Stink or Stoke dive into the past weekend's games with a coach's eye, using insights into what went right and wrong on critical plays. Telestrator Tuesdays, powered by Colorado Credit Union. Love where you live, love where you bank.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Appreciate everyone calling in for those tickets. Sorry if you didn't win them. Saw the phone lines light up, though, and you never know when more giveaways are coming. All right, first segment down. If you missed it, we broke down the Nikola Jokic injury, our relief that it is only, and I say only, a hyperextended knee and a bone bruise, because all of our minds went to the worst case scenario. So go back, check that out on the podcast. You can watch it on YouTube as well. But it is 6:30, Cello, and we are moving on to the Broncos, which is kind of crazy when our football team has a shot to win the number 1 seed, and we're just now getting to the Broncos at 6:30. It shows you the magnitude of what happened with Nikola Jokic last night. But The good news is Denver can clinch the 1 seed, and we've been talking about this for a couple months, don't get me wrong, but now that it's finally here, what were you thinking when you saw the news that Jim Harbaugh is sitting Justin Herbert and some of his starters?
I thought smart on his part. Herbert's been dealing with that left hand since he broke it and had the surgery on it and has been playing since. But now it's just a benefit for the Broncos. Listen, we were talking about it like last week. Like, say that everything worked out for them and they were able to have sat players themselves this coming week. I wouldn't have wanted that either. So you go out there, you handle your business, and then you let the chips fall where they may. But if you win, then you got everything that we talked about, everything that we kind of scoffed at the beginning of the year when Sean Payton made the comments that he did about this team. It's become a reality, and he's just been prophetic.
It's crazy. It's crazy that we're here, and we are, 96, 120 hours away from a win against the Chargers backups to be the freaking 1 seed. I mean, that's nuts, man. You got to beat Trey Lance. You're 11.5-point favorites. And LA, I think, gave you a big gift. I'm with you. I understand why Harbaugh is doing it because they can only be the 5, 6, or 7. And it looks like Baltimore's going to be the 4, and I don't think he wants to play his brother in the 5-4 and deal with all that noise. So it's actually better for Harbaugh if he loses this game, is the 6 or the 7, maybe a trip to Jacksonville, more than likely a trip to New England. And then he avoids the brother storyline, and he probably feels better about those games than the Ravens, who may have suddenly started to figure it out. All that said, Jim Harbaugh is handing you the 1 seed on a silver platter. You cannot squander it now. You've got to take care of business Sunday afternoon.
I guess the only concern would be was who were you going against last week? Nobody thought that was going to be a real game on Christmas night. Me included. I thought that the Broncos had an opportunity to kind of put up some style points. Now, things didn't fall the way. The game's probably different. The outcome's different if Cortland Sutton catches a few of those balls that were thrown his way, ones that he normally comes down with. Ironically enough, he made that one catch in the corner of the end zone, which was probably the most difficult out of all of them. The game would have probably been a little bit different, but we've heard of Trey Lance. Tell me when you heard of Oladukin.
I had not heard of Oladukin. That said, I've only heard of Trey Lance as a massive bust. I mean, that's why we know the name, is because the guy's a bust. Niners gave up a king's ransom to get up to number 3 in the 2021 draft, trade for him. If you can't make it work with Kyle Shanahan, I don't think you can make it work anywhere. I think this guy's a career clipboard holder.
Are you concerned now that injury has kind of been brought to the forefront of your mind with another superstar in this city, of get your business handled and get the guys out?
Yeah, in a perfect world, you're up 3 or 4 touchdowns, and we see Sparky Stiddy out there. I don't want to see Jarrett Stidham on the field hardly ever, but if it's 28-3 at halftime,
these last
sure,
2 weeks,
cool
I've been clamoring to see Bo in a baseball cap.
Yes,
I would love to see that, because that means everything's handled. You took care of business. But something tells me Jim Harbaugh is not going to make it easy. Whoever's out there on the football field, we'd love to see what happened Week 18 last year when the Broncos blanked the Chiefs, right, with Carson Wentz and
a laugher,
something like that.
But they do have one laugher this year. They beat Jake Browning, and I get it was all the way back in Week 4, but they did handle the Bengals 28-3. If I'm Sean Payton and Vance Joseph, I'm showing that tape around the facility this week. Guys, this is what we're supposed to do against a backup quarterback, because we'll get our first injury reports tomorrow. Chargers are going to have a long injury report. I promise you that. Chiefs had no interest in being here in Week 18 last year. I'm hoping the Chargers have a similar mindset, and it just looks like the JV versus the varsity. That's what this Broncos team needs, because A, it secures them the bye, which we both know is massive, and B, then it's a nice boost of confidence going into your bye week, regardless of who you beat. Anytime a team wins 38-7, you're going to walk out the field feeling yourself a little bit, and I think that's probably what the Broncos need heading into the postseason.
Yeah, and we'd love to see it. I mean, the opportunity is there for them to kind of pull this off. And, dude, I'm just thinking back. How many wins did you have at the beginning of the year?
13.
To get them to 14.
Crazy. You got to beat Trey Lance and a bunch of backups.
It was you and Cecil.
Thank you for my credit.
I heard the end of the drive.
Listen, man,
I'm going to give you that credit, because none of us saw this coming. Even a month ago, we were like, oh, everything's got to work out. Well,
they were in the middle of like a 9-game winning streak a month ago.
I know, but a lot of it people thought was, smoke and mirrors. There's still people out there that don't believe in this team.
No, and that's what's crazy to me, because We'll get to it in the final segment, but there's a very major outlet that has them as the favorites in their computer simulations to win the Super Bowl. So we'll do that in a few minutes. Can I hit you with these clinching scenarios for the Broncos?
Yeah.
So there's 3 of them. One is win. Pretty darn simple. But there's 2 others in here. The Broncos will be the 1 seed if they tie and New England loses or ties. If you tie, Trey Lance and the Chargers backups, no one's going to be happy.
And the Pats have the Dolphins, is that right?
They do. So that's one. And then the other one is a New England loss and a Jacksonville loss or tie. So Patriots lose to the Dolphins. The problem is the Jaguars play the hapless Tennessee Titans. So that's probably not going to happen either. You know, we've done this sort of every Tuesday over the last 2-3 months, kind of looked around the AFC, looked around games that matter. And I thought it was a good full circle moment for us of like, yeah, there's 3 scenarios, but one involves you tying and the Patriots losing. The other involves the Dolphins upsetting New England and Tennessee upsetting Jacksonville. You don't win on Sunday, you're not going to be the 1 seed. You're most likely going to be the 3 seed. And that would just change. Yes, you'd still get a home playoff game, but I think that would change all our perceptions going into the postseason.
Oh, it'd be the disappointment too, because it's not the Chargers it's not a Herbert-led Chargers team.
Nope.
And they've been dealt with a ton of injuries all year. But now you're literally getting to play just backup players. So, like, if you're going to be a team that's going to win a Super Bowl, this should be just a shoo-in. Something tells me it's going to be a little bit closer than we want it to be, though.
But what about it being at home? Is that kind of the great equalizer? You know, the Jets game, everyone's mad. That wasn't a laugher. Well, it was in London. The Chiefs game last week, everyone's mad. That wasn't a laugher. Well, it was in Arrowhead with a pretty jacked-up stadium, probably witnessing Travis Kelce's last home game. But I can also look at my own thinking and say, well, they had the Raiders at home on Thursday night, only won 10-7. They had the Giants at home. They were down 19-0 and 26-8.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm grasping a little bit here, but I'm hoping a jacked up, and we both know it's going to be jacked up on Sunday. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. I'm just hoping a jacked up in Power Field at Mile High versus a bunch of guys who aren't normally seeing as many snaps as this, that the Broncos can just turn this into a blowout and honestly do it relatively
well, and
quickly.
maybe you're right. Maybe the way that they went in on Monday morning without even celebrating an AFC West championship, that the hats and the T-shirts were just hung in their lockers. Maybe that's the kind of focus and discipline Sean Payton's looking for. I'll take you back to the preseason game against San Francisco. Was it San Fran? Remember when he's like, I have a list of 17 things that bothered me,
Yeah,
and it has nothing to do with football.
Wasn't he mad about like a jazz concert going outside the hotel?
It was all of the stuff like getting to the stadium, how they prepared, all of those things that we kind of scoffed at and wondered about back in August. Now it's kind of like this team, and we hear it constantly, week in and week out with them. This team is closer than any team a lot of these guys have ever been a part of. The accountability of a guy like Nick Bonito when he didn't play well against Jacksonville, coming out and saying, I played ass today. Like that type of stuff where maybe it's just different this year. And everything we've thought was going to happen this year, like, oh, there's going to be a blowout this weekend. Didn't happen. How many of us had them beating the Cowboys by 20?
Very few, if any.
No, I mean, we thought, well, hey, man, that's the best offense you've seen up until that point, and you're going to have your hands full. So, and then we all kind of thought last week was going to be a laugher. Didn't end up being it. The Chiefs had an opportunity to go down and possibly win the game had they have scored a touchdown. So maybe it's this. This is the time of the year where it kicks in.
Speaking of that, real quick, just thought popped into my head. Trayvon Diggs gets cut today. Any interest?
Oh, yeah. What's his health status? You remember how good he was a few years ago.
Yeah, he had 11 picks. He got cut by the Cowboys today. The reporting that's out there is he wanted to stay on the East Coast after their last game. Coaches wouldn't let him. He said, fine, I'll fly home with you, but I'm getting on the first flight back out. He did it. It was kind of an ugly divorce, and now he's a free agent.
Now you gave me the backstory to it. I'm not so sure. Oof. It kind of gets to that Chris Paul divorce just a couple weeks back, where you think a better home would produce better behavior.
But what about Trayvon Diggs opposite of PS2 instead of Riley Moss? That gets the wheels turning for me a little bit.
I'm with you a little bit because all you remember is his highlights. Well, you haven't seen much from him lately. He's been injured, hasn't been playing at the same level at all.
And the Cowboys cut him. If a team claims him, they'll owe him $500,000 this week. So it sounds like no one's going to claim him because they don't want to be on the hook for the $500,000, and then he will be a free agent. And I'm not saying this to goof around. I'm saying it because I think corners outside of Surtain is a weaker position on this team. Are you going to be surprised if the Schefters, the Rappaports of the world tweet that the Broncos are in the running for free agent Trayvon Diggs?
Not at all.
I wouldn't either.
I mean, he's going to get scooped up by someone, right? I think chemistry would be a concern here.
Yeah, that locker room just so tight.
You don't want to upset the apple cart for something like that.
I think I'd sign up for it.
You remember the Dale Carter signing back in the day, yeah?
Oh, give me the year on that. I'm serious. I mean, vaguely.
Oh, it was awful.
But what year was it? Ballpark.
Oh, dude, it was during their first Super Bowl runs.
Okay, so I was like 6, 7 years old.
It was a Shanahan decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't go well.
Mm-mm.
Didn't go so hot. All right, I mentioned it. Let's do it next. A very prominent football site has the Denver Broncos as a 17% chance to win the Super Bowl. That's the highest in the league. We'll give you the details.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Denver Sports 1043 to stay up to date on all your local teams. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start January 7th. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes while giving you a head start on 2026. Earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets the Duralast battery.
have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
A new exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card is your opportunity to go from card holder to ticket holder for the FIFA World Cup 2026. For a limited time, when you're approved for a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card, you're eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more today at BofA.com/cardFWC26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America N.A. in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Cake Mortgage Corp. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 1734623. Licensed in Colorado by the Division of Real Estate. Terms and conditions apply. These days, we expect everything fast. Streaming, food delivery, even same-day shipping. So why should using the equity in your home to get cash be any different? At Cake Mortgage, we get fast. We just got a client approved for $300,000 in under 24 hours with our Cake Fast Cash program. If you're struggling with high-interest debt, roll it into one low monthly payment and save hundreds or more each month. The best part? You'll keep your current mortgage rate and only pay for what you use. Cake Mortgage. Your fresh-baked fast cash loan is ready to enjoy. So don't wait. Call 720-850-0012. That's 720-850-0012. Or visit cakehome.com for thousands of 5-star reviews.
Get ready for every Broncos game with Super Bowl 50 champion Brandon Marshall as he joins the drive every Friday afternoon at 4:45 exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Thanks to Corwin Toyota Boulder. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. DenverSports.com and the Denver Sports app. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
All right, so Pro Football Focus may be the most popular analytics site in the world when it comes to the NFL. And they released their new Super Bowl probabilities for all 32 teams today. Of course, more than half the league has already been eliminated from that. But based on their computer simulations, Cello, the Denver Broncos are in the pole position. Bo Nix and company win the Super Bowl and a league best 17% of their simulations. I will give you the others as we continue the segment, but your reaction to PFF giving the Broncos, and this is not just AFC, this is the whole enchilada, the best odds, and the best odds by a little bit of a chunk here to win the Super Bowl at 17%.
Let me fire back at you with another question. Who's the most well-rounded team in the NFL?
Well-rounded. If Houston's offense can start to produce, which it looked like they were going against the Chargers. You know, they had those 2 touchdowns early, but then I think scored 6 points the rest of the game. Maybe the Rams, but gosh, they looked alarmingly bad last night, have looked bad for a couple weeks now. The Seahawks, am I really a Sam Darnold guy? I'm not sure. The Niners, I mean, they battled so many injuries, but Fred Warner could be coming back. I guess my answer would be Seattle, but I don't say it real convincingly. How about you?
Yeah, it didn't sound convincing.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
And I wonder if we tuned into a station out there, would they be saying something similar about the Broncos, which has been my concern all year long. Not really a concern, but a reality of what we know about the Broncos here is certainly different, and our perception is certainly different than everybody views it around the league. So for something like that to have broken, like, hey, out of all of the simulations that they've tried, the Broncos are going to come out on top. I don't know that I love it. I still kind of like them being under the radar, which I still think they are perception-wise. If you go, I think ESPN's power rankings have Seattle 1, New England 2. I think the Broncos are stuck at 3. New England just leapfrogged them this past week with that big win against the Jets and Drake May's 5-touchdown performance. So I go about it where for the past month I've said it's the Rams. But the big concern with me, Will, is you look at the Rams and the Bills, which I thought could have been one of the possible Super Bowl participants. Their quarterbacks are killing them right now. Josh Allen, Superman, a few times this year, and I love him as a player. But when you look at the games that they're losing, it's taking it back to where he has like just brain fog and goes back to early Josh Allen. Last night, Matthew Stafford throws 3 picks, as good as he's been all year, and maybe the league MVP. They win that game, and they wanted to win that game. Because if they got that 5 seed, I think that's what they were vying for last night.
Yeah, you got to play Tampa or Carolina.
Instead of Chicago or Philly.
Right.
Like, so they were trying to win, and for them to lay duds on the road against teams like, and Atlanta played really well last night, but the game against Carolina a few weeks back, some of their other losses were close as kind of like fluky ones. The one in Philly early, I think week 3.
The one in Seattle was maybe the game
But
of the year.
for all the criticism that our guy gets here, and Bo Nix, dude, these two guys have literally kind of just this past week cost their teams games.
Well, it's interesting you bring up those two teams because they are also in the top 5 in terms of Pro Football Focus's chance to win the Super Bowl with their simulations. So the Broncos are at 17%. Up next is the Seattle Seahawks at 13.9%. The Rams at 12.3%. Rounding out the top 5 is the 49ers at 9% and the Bills at 8.7% chance to win the Super Bowl. So, two things here. One, Broncos by far the biggest favorite in the AFC. You know, it goes them and then 3 NFC teams and then the Bills. And then 2, they have the Broncos at a 30% chance to be in the Super Bowl. So a 1-in-3-ish chance of winning the conference and then a 17% chance of winning the whole thing. Now that I've laid out the top 5 and their odds, I think it even makes a stronger case for the Broncos that they are more than doubling up a team like the Bills in terms of percentage to hoist Lombardi.
Why do you think that is? Because, one, they assume they're going to beat the Chargers on Sunday.
And be the 1 seed, yep.
And the AFC is just not what we thought it was going to be going into the postseason.
Correct.
You have a couple of surprise teams, the Broncos being one of them.
Absolutely. I mean, if I had told you, 6 months ago, hey, the Broncos have the number 1 odds to win the Super Bowl on PFF,
Yeah.
you'd say, I'll have some of what you're having, brother.
You're going back to 2013, 2014.
Exactly. The Texans at 8.5%, the Patriots at 7.4%, Jags at 6.3%, and the Eagles at 5%. So everyone else, even like the Bears, lower than 5%, the Ravens, lower than 5%. It's wide open.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, especially after this weekend. If the Niners are able to beat the Seahawks, that's Saturday night, I think?
Yes.
They would
That's
claim
for the
that
1 seed.
And then they'd have all their final 4 remaining games would be in their home stadium if they got all the way to the Super Bowl.
Could host a Super Bowl just like the Rams did a few years ago against
Tampa.
the Bengals. First time ever. Or you're right, Tampa did it. The COVID year, I guess.
Yep.
And then it hadn't happened ever, and then it happened like twice in 3 years, and now it could happen a third time. All that said, do you like, and again, it's PFF, and people have all different kinds of opinions of whether or not they're legit. Do you like the computers being on the Broncos side?
I like it because it's my team.
Right.
But I'm not going to put any stock in it.
Really?
No.
So you're not an analytics guy, because there's actually people out there who would. I mean, we've heard Philip Lindsay tell stories that they give out contracts inside some NFL buildings based on
what you're projected to do.
Pro Football Focus has become a tool for GMs in terms of evaluating talent.
I'll lean towards Stink's side of things here, and I don't put as much of an emphasis on it.
Does Stink put any stock in analytics?
not in PFF, I don't think.
It's so funny how polarizing PFF is.
Yeah.
But I could understand if
I
I was a player and it was millions of dollars. If they graded me great, I'd love it. If they graded me poorly, I'd hate it.
But you can't ignore it either. I'm not going to completely ignore it. It's there for a reason. It's the NFL's version of Moneyball.
Moneyball worked out. Rockies
Not
hired
really.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
It kind of worked out. Didn't the A's go on like a 20-game winning streak?
Did they
or
ever
something
play in the
fun?
World Series?
Well, Derek Jeter, your boy, cost them a World Series with that unbelievable play. All right, it was a blast. We are so glad that Nikola Jokic is only out a month, that the Broncos can clinch the 1 seed, and PFF has them as Super Bowl favorites. What a time to be a Denver sports fan. For Dante and Cello, I'm Will. It's DST on the Fan.
Follow us on X at DEN Sports 1043 for up-to-the-minute information and opinions on all things Denver sports.
Also, we can still call it Twitter, right? Denver Sports 1043.